Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Robby here, and today we're going to be talking all about Landmand. If you followed along to the podcast, to any of our social media channels, you will know the love that I have for Landmand. It's an incredible course. I've had the opportunity to go there twice now. I can't wait to go back. It's a ton of fun. I thought for this episode, besides me just kind of rambling on about, again, the love I have for it, I wanted to bring on some friends, some old, some new folks that I got to hang out with this year on the trip, and just have them share their thoughts. So I would encourage you, listen to the podcast, but check out the YouTube channel and kind of see their smiling faces as they talk about their love for it. I'll have them introduce themselves here in a second. But I just wanted them to share what they thought about it. So as always, the Whole Story Podcast, we've got a couple friends of the program that help make this possible. Holderness and Bourne, check them out, hbgolf.com, and Western Birch. They make incredible golf tees. Check them out at westernbirch.com. So as we kick off the Landmand special here, I'll raise my Vice glass made by Phil. Vice Drinkware. Check these guys out. Had them beautifully etched with the Cooler logo. And we'll make a toast to this special Landmand episode. Y'all enjoy.
Jonathan from Augusta, Georgia.
Andrew Shoup. I'm from St. Charles, Missouri.
I'm Ryan O'Mara. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I'm the director of golf at Wildwood Golf Course.
My name is Josh Decker, and I am from Birmingham, Alabama.
My proper name is Sarah Stewart. I'm from Vancouver/Whistler. I go by Smooths. It's way easier. It makes me feel like I'm in trouble if I hear Sarah.
So I'm Scott Brooks. Instagram handle is Pacific Northwest Golfer, and I am from Portland, Oregon.
I'm Chelsea Willard, and I'm from Rome, Wisconsin.
My name is Joey Julius, and I'm from Hershey, Pennsylvania, but I live in St. Louis.
Benjamin Shutley from St. Louis, Missouri.
All right, now that you've met our guest, I asked them first, describe Landmand to someone that hasn't seen it, right? It's an incredible place. You'll hear them describe it in their own words. If you haven't seen it, you need to do it. We'll talk more about how you need to sign up for an opportunity to play there next year in 2025 when the signups open up for that. So hear what everybody else would describe Landmand to someone that's never seen it.
Vast. So even the drive in, you're in a small little town, and if you're not from the Midwest, like just being able to see a long way away is something that's not normal, right? If you drive down an interstate in the South, you've got trees on each side, that sort of thing. And so you can just see for miles and miles. And then you come up and there's this massive flag, which the first time we drove up was completely unfurled, which is a fairly intimidating thing. A big American flag, and then the classic Landmand sleeve there. And then as soon as you come up top, it just opens up everywhere. And I think vast is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, it's a really, really good question. It's a hard one to answer. I think, one word answers would come in the line of bold, exciting, vast, dramatic. Had this conversation on course with one of my buddies, and a funny thing came up. I was like, I think if a guy has played Mammoth Dunes and if he's played Sweetens, you could just simply tell him, look, if you combine those two courses, if those two courses had a baby, Landmand is what you get. It's just as dramatic as it possibly could be and still be absolutely playable and fun.
Oh, wow. Landmand, hasn't seen it. All right, so I stayed in Sioux City, so for me, I'm just going back through, the first thing I saw was the flag up in the windsock up on the elevated plateau that is the golf course. There's that giant landform up there with a massive golf course on it, and we drove around it before we played it, and I just remember, you can see the first hole and the finishing hole as soon as you're up by the clubhouse. Once you get up that big gravel hill. But then the second hole is a reveal, the third hole is a reveal. You get up for, is it the fourth hole, the par 3? is that the fifth hole? You kind of get up on top there. And I just remember thinking like, wow, this is a very unique, fun layout with a lot more elevation change than I assumed there was going to be. And by the time you get to like the eighth hole, that little par three where the halfway house is, you're like, okay, this is fun. This is a cool vibe. Yeah, I mean the turf blew me away. The quality of the turf and the fairways and everywhere just unbelievable. I really enjoyed the back nine, especially when it was the wind was at your back. You could really take it on. I made a great eagle on the 13th hole, the par four. And then I think my favorite stretch of holes is the last three holes, the finishing stretch there. You can really be aggressive, but you don't want to end up in that bunker on 18, that's for sure. So I just a really fun track.
A massive golf course with greens that are diabolical yet very playable, and a golf course that, depending on the wind, can provide all kinds of scoring opportunities, or you hope to just make double and walk off happy.
And that's where it's so hard. I mean, you going to Landmand, I mean, the bustling metropolis of Homer, Nebraska, all these places are conveniently located. Like you go to Bandon Dunes, you go to Sand Valley, they're all like 3 or 4 hours conveniently located from an airport. So, drive down one gravel road, then another gravel road. If someone was following us on GPS, they'd probably think we were going off to a cornfield to bury a body. But no, just a couple of chicks going up to an absolutely epic golf course. And it's in the middle of what you think is nowhere. And one of the most visually stunning landscapes you have ever played golf on. It's incredible, but it totally catches you off guard because you think you're lost on the way.
I mean, I think that might be the hardest thing to do in golf. It's a very incredibly, it's an incredible place. The scale, everybody talks about the scale, and you're going to be, try to prepare yourself for it. There's no way. I mean, I've watched videos before going. I did everything I could to research. And as soon as you get up top, like they say, check out the clubhouse and look out to what you have ahead of you. You'll understand that Rob Collins, and Will Anderson and the rest of the crew built something very, very special out there in Homer, Nebraska.
So this trip was the first time I'd seen Landmand. So yeah, it's no pictures or videos do it justice. I've seen it over the years, but getting there in person and seeing just like how epic of a scale everything was really, really cool. You're just nestled in this like big sea of corn, and then there's just this beautiful prairie with massive golf weaved in and out of it. And yeah, it's really hard to describe the scale of this place.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I can describe it is imagine some green oasis hidden in the middle of a cornfield. It's like Field of Dreams, but for golf.
I've found myself in the week since leaving, having trouble doing that. I say it's giant, it's grand, it's on a piece of land that is what 4 or 5 times the size of what your normal golf course is. Um, no houses, no subdivisions, but just almost park setting or otherworldly. I found myself just continuously spinning 360s, looking at the scenery, and the scene that I kept coming back to in my mind is in Matt Damon in the movie The Martian, where he's kind of like walking over a ridge, and the camera just kind of pans and shows like just this Martian scene around him. Like that's what it felt like. It really felt like we were like in a different world on a different planet. Like, I mean, me and the guys I was playing with kept saying like, how does this exist? And how are we this lucky to be playing this right now?
All right. So the next question that I asked everybody, typical when you talk about a golf course, what was your favorite hole, right? Everybody had many different answers. There's 18 holes at Landman. They all can stand on their own. They're incredible. I do want you to pay attention to what Smood says as her favorite answer. I think it speaks volumes, right? It's a very good answer. I won't spoil it, but listen to what she says. If you ask me, my favorite hole probably is going to be number 17, short, drivable par four. Just a lot of great memories there. I did 4-putt for the first time this year because I hit second shot up onto the top level, and there was just no way to get to the mid level without, putting it a lot. So anyway, listen to what everybody says is their favorite hole there at Landman.
Probably the only hole that I actually played well on, which was, I believe, number 8. Short par 3. It doesn't hurt that you're at the turn and you get to go in and grab a new cold beverage. And it was probably, I think it played at most 120 yards, but it was a very small green compared to the 1-acre greens that are available at Landman in some cases. And the wind, I mean, I think the day that I think I birdied a hole, I think I birdied it one day, but I think it was I think it was playing 110 or 115 yards that day, and I'm pretty sure I hit a pitching wedge, which is normally like a 135, 150 club for me, because there was once you put it up in the air, it was just going to die. So yeah, par 3, number 8.
Yeah, it's like an impossible question to answer too. I think that number 3 is my favorite hole at Landman. I think that after you make your approach shot on 2, and then you get back up to the cart path and are getting ready to walk down, if you make that look left and you see that barranca and just that scene, it's such a good golf hole too. I mean, playable in multiple ways. I think it definitely not based on my score there, because my score there is horrible, but it's definitely number 3.
I mean, I eagled 13, so the first time I played it, so I really like how that fairway kind of slithers down from left to right. It goes down that steep hill. It's like from the tee box, you think you can almost drive the green, but you should not try to take on that green. The par threes are all great. I really do like that 8th hole and the vibe right there by the halfway house. Being able to take putter off of the tee on the par 3 or lob wedge, or whatever else you think can get the ball close to the hole. It seems like you're going to have an easy birdie, and then you're like, wait, you can get out of position and really fumble that one badly. But yeah, just the bunkering, the sideboards, the backboards, the different shots. You can tell your buddy, watch this, and try to sling one in from left to right or right to left and see what it does, and then laugh about where it ends up. Sometimes great spots, sometimes not great spots. But yeah, I really, really liked everything I saw out there.
I think my favorite hole at Landman is probably number 3. Isn't that the one with the barranca that runs through the middle? It's a visually, it sets up nice for the eye, and it's a big fairway, but there's trouble right down the middle, which provides a little bit of a different test. Very gettable hole, but again, you've got that barranca running right through the middle that will just wear you out.
So this is going to be the cheesiest answer, because I like a lot of holes for different reasons. 8 is diabolical, obviously, so I have kind of a love-hate relationship with it. I love the green on 10 is like one of the most fun greens you'll ever play. There's a bunch of drivable par 4s, which are super fun. But my super cheesy answer is number 1, because when you're on number 1, you still have the whole course ahead of you, which I don't know. You've got 17 more holes after that, so that's my cheesy favorite.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I really like, for whatever reason, hole number 9 is just a very, very cool hole to me. It's set back, kind of tucked away in a pocket, and especially, I'm big into the shadows, and the late night shadows over there were incredible. But I think it would be it'd be unfair to the course to say, oh, here's my favorite hole, because There's very few places that exceed all expectations, and this one certainly exceeded all expectations for me.
Ooh, I really love number 10. That's the Punch Bowl. And mostly because we were playing at sunset and the boys were throwing the baseball around and we were just hitting balls, seeing where we could get them to land in that punch bowl and where they'd roll to. So that's kind of like a special hole for me, but I also love 17 with that massive green. Had a lot of fun putting around on that one.
My favorite had to have been the Rodan, the par three. I think was 14. Yeah, it was just such a classic hole. And when the pin was in that back left location, and you could actually hit that slot. And I mean, when they put the pin in the front, and you would accidentally hit the slot, it was fun too because it was like you got the bad side of the Rodan. So I don't know. I've never played a hole like that before, so that was special for me.
If I had to pick a favorite from playing it last week, it'd be number 10, the bowl or the punch bowl, just because it's a super wide fairway, and I hit it every time. I can't say that for many of the other holes. It's got that easy kind of eye line aim point right over the bunkers, and approach shot is fairly short, even for shorter drives. Um, and You can use the punch bowl, you can go straight at it sometimes, depending where the pin is. But giant green, which is typical of almost all the holes out there. But this one's friendlier as opposed to others that you're not sure where your ball might end up, where you could land near the flag and end up 250 feet away, like I did on several other of the par threes.
Hey, Robby. So we recorded last night. You asked me my favorite hole at Landmand, and my brain was fried last night. So apologies. And I know you probably can't add this, but number 17 at Landmand is killer. And the fact that I overlooked it and didn't mention it last night is embarrassing. I should never be allowed back on the property after completely missing talking about 17. The drivable par 4 with a massive green that you will 3 or 4 putt from in true King Khan's fashion. Anyway, 17 cannot be left out of any discussion when we're talking about favorite holes at Landmand, because it is an absolute gem of a golf hole, especially if you've got that wind behind you. I mean, you can feather like a 5-iron or a hybrid into that thing. Oh yeah, love 17 at Landmand.
As we've mentioned before, we got together at this event called the Cooler. So I asked everybody, what did y'all think about the Cooler? How would you describe the Cooler? What was your favorite part? Will Anderson and Jeff Birch have been friends for a while. They kind of put this thing together. There's a match between a select group of buddies of Jeff's and then Will and some of the folks that work there or people in the Homer area. And they have a match. It's fun to watch. It's highly competitive. I will say that Will Anderson's team won this year, so they got to keep the Cooler for the second year. I guess Birch's team won last year. But it's a cool event, and those that are not playing in it get to go experience the course and just have some fun. So let's hear what everybody says they thought about the Cooler.
I think the whole experience. I guess if I were to say one favorite part, it's the fact that you got to play Landmand more than once. The very first day, we went out early, just like almost everyone else. We got out there as soon as we could. And around hole 14 or 15, there was a conversation in the group of, can you imagine the sadness that starts creeping in when you know you're about done with this round of golf? In a normal, April through September golfing event, you get one round, and it's going to be over in about 45 minutes to an hour, and that's it. And your chances of coming back are sort of like getting Taylor Swift tickets, it seems, where you may or may not be able to be quick on the computer next year and come back. And yet we had the opportunity to stop by, grab a sandwich, got back in the cart, and go back out and do it again. And so I think that was probably the coolest part about the Cooler.
Yeah, it's just, there are people coming into the Cooler to Homer, Nebraska, from everywhere, from all over the place. So it's definitely getting to meet all of these like-minded people and enjoy such a beautiful place with, now people that are now becoming my friends, but last year I didn't know anybody there other than Kyle and Birch, So to get to meet so many like-minded people that just have a love for golf and the relationships that it creates, I think that's definitely the coolest part about the cooler.
I liked that there was some structure to the matches. It definitely had the competitive vibe to it, but then being, a photographer and someone that can just ad lib and go out on the course, responsibly, not cutting people off or getting into places I shouldn't go. But just, I liked how there was structure, and then also the freedom to ad lib and go. And, I just seeing sunrise with your friends, watching the maintenance crew set up the course and then seeing people grind on it, being able to go and find a spot where, it's relatively open, just hit some shots with your friends and, make up a game as you go. I really liked just the group of people and the way it was set up. It allowed for your creativity to just come out.
My favorite part of the cooler was probably the people. I am someone who loves interacting with people and having new experiences and meeting new people, and that afforded itself everywhere I turned around. There was a hand stuck out to shake mine and someone introducing themselves. The other cool thing about the cooler was no structure at all. It is just golf, 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 which I am all about.
I mean, you can't really beat the vibes. Like the course itself is obviously a draw alone. But the group of people that the cooler attracts, and I mean, last year was phenomenal, made tons of friends. This year, I think it got even bigger. And all the photographers that were here this year, that blew my mind. The shots that are still coming out of that week are nuts. So it's just a bunch of absolute golf sickos, but all in the best way, that want to go to this stunning place and have the best time ever. There's nobody in a bad mood. Nobody's keeping scores, and well, people probably are keeping score, but they're not letting it affect the day because there's matches going on. But everyone's just having the best time. Like everyone is smiling the entire 3 days. It's it's an unbeatable vibe for sure.
I mean, it felt like family. Everyone that was there, they welcomed me in as a first timer. A lot of people have gone, for a few years now. And, Birchie told me that, when you come, you're going to be a part of the family. And I felt that right away. Will and Sam kind of hoaxed me into having a spicy vodka pickle shot. And then they added some Bloody Mary mix on top. But, and I asked, I was like, is this the Landmand thing? And they go, I guess this week it is. So the local flavor of the month there. But, overall, just everyone was very welcoming. And again, I've never been so far away from home, but felt like I was right in my own backyard with everybody there. So, kudos to that whole team for putting on a very, very special
Probably the people, it's you go with friends and then you leave with new friends. That was the most fun part for me, is all the different people I got to meet, and a bunch of really like-minded people and creative people and just really fun people that are like, they're into golf, but they're also just in to have like a good time and get to know other people. So I really, really enjoyed that.
What I loved was just like the kind of like the lore behind it, and just like hearing like Birchie, who's like our guy, and we're like supporting him, but we're also friends with these new like awesome people that we met, and just watching them like talk trash to each other the whole time, and kind of like the history behind the tournament. And I don't know, it was cool. I mean, I would love to get in it at some point. I was just one of the bystanders that got to watch. So
It's got to be the people that were there, the vibes the whole week. I mean, not being in a rush. I mean, I didn't even write down a score the whole time I was there. I mean, that's not the type of golf I was playing. It was just such a high vibes type of week, and just meeting people. So just the culture around the whole event itself.
All right, so the next question was pretty tough. I asked everybody, why do you love Landmand? I know the people that I asked to be on this thing, they do love it. So I just wanted to hear it in their own words. Like, why would you say you actually love a golf course? And I think the answer is pretty repetitive by a lot of people. So yeah, hope you enjoy hearing about why people love Landman.
That's tough. You talk about a golf course and all the things that it can provide and the different places and spaces. But as we talk about all the time, golf is about people and the atmosphere of everyone who works there, the folks that have designed it, the general manager. I mean, he's out in sandals. And the vibe is this is just home. I don't play enough golf to go out and play as many rounds as everyone else I was with. So, I mean, at one point, I literally just grabbed an iced tea and sat in the Adirondack chairs on number 18. And I was there for like 2 or 3 hours. And it was great. People coming around, chatting. If you wanted to go putt, you could. If you didn't want to, it was no big deal. And so just the atmosphere of, I think everyone that we hung out with just had this atmosphere of we don't want to go. And I know for a fact that if I was there for just a regular round in July, it'd be like, let's get there 8 in the morning and let's play our round whenever it happens, and then let's just sit around and never leave.
Yeah, kind of similar to the same reason I love the cooler. The golf course is obviously exceptional. One of a kind experience there. But I think that, beyond the course, it's those people in Homer. It's Will, it's Sam, it's all those guys and their hospitality and how they make you feel. It's very far from a private course, but the experience that you get there and the connection that you make with the people that are operating it is very, very special. So, I think that's probably top of the list. And then, yeah, the golf course is it's full throttle. You get off the first tee and it just doesn't stop until 18. And to be honest with you, you just don't want it to stop. It's just a really, really fun experience.
Why do I love Landman? It was an instant, love at first sight. I mean, the layout, the condition, the branding, it is just all, it's got it all. You can tell the people that put it together love golf, and it translates just seamlessly from, the time you show up until the time you leave. It's just good people, fun, Lawrence and Rule on the first tee and the vibe at the starter shack there, the hammocks. I mean, the awesome golf that you get to play. You can tell that's the actual focus of the property. But then, they had good food too. And it was just, everything was good. Yeah.
I love Landman largely because of the golf course itself. It being a King Collins design is something I'm very familiar with, but the scale of it is truly something to behold, and also the vibe. I remember when I got there for the very first time and checked in up top and was like, "Hey, do y'all need a credit card?" And they're like, "No, we just need your last name." So it's a very chill atmosphere, which is something I think golf needs a lot more of. And that's when I typically enjoy myself the most.
Oh, it's tough. I'm a big Rob Collins fan. I think he builds really fun golf courses. And of course, my first experience there was the cooler. So it's going to have a spot in my heart forever, just the combination of the course and the people that are there. But what I think is so special about the course is just that it's just so fun. Like, if anyone is at Landman not having a good time, then they're doing it wrong. I think Rob builds, he's a creative genius, obviously. He builds really fun courses, challenging courses that make you rethink the way you play golf, and courses that will put you in like heinous positions that you could never imagine. But it's fun. And if people can go there and kind of separate the score aspect from just the enjoyment of golf, you just have such a unique experience there. You're looking in the opposite direction of the hole and thinking about ways that you can like bank your shot off a knoll and like roll it down to the hole, instead of just like, how can I make a birdie here? How can I make a par? Instead, it's like, I'm going to try this ridiculous flop shot and I might end up further from the hole than I started, but it's going to be so fun. And where else do I get to try shots like this?
I mean, for someone that's grown up in the Pacific Northwest and, big old growth trees everywhere, it's just something very, very different to the eye. And, photography guy, drone photographer. So I really love experiencing different landscapes. And overall, I mean, again, I can't even put it into perspective for people. I've tried to explain it. I've talked to a lot of people since coming back from the trip, and I just say go in the first chance you can. Get out there and go see. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go to the Old Dane course on Monday before, but I already told the whole crew that I'll be there next year to check that place out as well because that little town is just a very special place, and what Will and Sam and everybody have created there. It's just, I think, the logo, I kept telling everybody, the pin flags, that logo that you see, the windsock logo, I think that's going to be an icon in the golf world for a long, long time. And, I've worked with a lot of courses, I've worked with a lot of clubs, and they're doing it right out there. So I'm very proud to have been at that event, and I think that's going to be my new home away from home out in the heartland. So
I think it's the fun that Landman fosters, just in everybody. You have to approach every hole with like a sense of fun and adventure, and it's some of the best golf I played because I was so focused that way. It was just every hole you'd get to and you're like, you couldn't believe what you were staring at, and you're like, let's go for it, let's see what happens. And yeah, like despite its size, it just like really fosters that creativity, which is really fun.
I love it because, personally, I don't get to ever. I mean, that was my first time doing like a golf trip. So for that to be like my first place, maybe kind of spoiled golf trips for the rest of my life for me. But I don't know. I mean, it was just like a special place. It reminded me a lot of Pennsylvania. Being in the corn, where I'm from, it's just, you have like civilization, but then it's mostly fields and cows and corn, and it just kind of reminded me of home a little bit. But it was also this vast scale that you couldn't really understand. I mean, I've even being in Missouri with the fields we have, it's crazy. But Nebraska, Iowa, whole nother level of just like, I don't know, it makes you feel how small you are. So it was, I don't know, it was just pretty special. And I don't know, there's something about like the staff there. Like, never been so friendly with the staff before. Be able to, we spent probably an hour just hanging out with the guys down at the cart barn, talking to them, talking about their future, what they're looking to do. I mean, it was just all around was just a great time.
It's an experience type destination, This is more of a course where it it gives you a feeling about uh, how to play. If you and this is if you let the course in, I think it'll teach you a little bit about yourself and your game.
I knew that it was going to be a great week hanging out with folks. I mean, you and I'm fair to say we've made lifelong friends with just some guys that were in a cart with next to us, right? And so, as much as golf is fun and amazing and all that kind of stuff, it never gets away from it's who you play with.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Stories or reasons why people love Landman. I think for me, it is the people, right? Like I've mentioned before, the people that I've gotten to spend the time with on the course, the people there, Will Anderson, Sam Fletcher, all the folks there, Andrew, Amber, all the people, cart folks, the entire staff of Landman, grounds crews, like everybody's just great. And then to top it off, you get to hang out with some great people playing golf. It's the people, right? That's what makes Landman so special to me. And I think it's why I describe it as kind of my happy place in golf, because it's just the course, the people, it's a lot of fun. So Best Ball, we're all about golf stories. And I had to ask everybody, tell me a story, right? What was your favorite story from your time this year at Landman during the cooler? So let's listen to what everybody has to say.
All right. So I don't drink, but this is still a fun story. There's a par three, which is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's 240 yards, and if you ever go out there, if you hit it to the right hand side, it will flow all the way down to the left, no matter what you're trying to do. But there's a hidden cooler of alcohol hidden behind the very back tee, and I've never seen grown men be more excited about drinking out of nasty bottles that probably everybody else has had a shot out of in the last, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months. And the fun part was probably the fact that as soon as it was opened, the other guys started identifying who it was that left the bottles of alcohol. And so again, if you think about like the camaraderie and what golf is about in terms of just hanging out, just going out there, finding little secrets like that, and enjoying golf on a nice breezy day.
I think getting to loop. So we went last year. My good friend Kenny Riley didn't get to make the trip, and very hard for him not to be there, but he couldn't be there. So we talked about it for a year. It's just a place that you really don't stop talking about. It comes up pretty often. So me and Kenny made the trip up. We drove up from St. Louis this year, and super exciting just to be there with him. And then, to see his reactions as we made corners and all the reveals out there. And then, we got to the Redan. I think it's 14. And the wind was different this year. And, we went from last year, I remember hitting 5-iron and 4-iron into that green. And this year, like, guys are talking 3-wood and hybrid. And Kenny gets up, and the other 5 or 6 of us that are in the group don't get to the green. And he's like, I'm hitting a bunt driver. And we're all like, dude, no way. And hits this bunt driver to the right side. And you have to play the hole to understand what I'm saying. But, you hit it to the right side, and it has nothing to do but go left. And he hit that bunt driver a million yards in the air and, landed 70 yards. And we had 15 seconds of excitement. And I just stopped watching the ball, and I look at Kenny, and the look on his face while this ball's going towards the hole, he put it to 3 feet. It was so exciting and so fun, and really cool to see Kenny appreciate that place. He's my good friend, appreciate the place the same way that I do. That excitement it can't be duplicated. It was very cool.
We weren't there long. Unfortunately, we had to leave a little early, but I do remember when we figured out, like, this is what the cooler is. Okay, I get it. I think we were about at the halfway house the first lap around, and Scott and I filled up our cart with, drinks and ice, and we take off down that 9th hole down the fairway towards that massive bunker in the cornfields and everything. And we enter the fairway, and the back of our cart bumps up a little bit, and both our cooler and the trash flying off. And we look back, and there's ice and drinks everywhere. We're like, okay, I guess we're at the cooler. Cleaned it all up laughing. Then went on to make eagle and just had a blast with all the buddies that I kind of already knew on social media, but getting to shake hands and laugh with people is just a blast.
My favorite story this past time was the side bet that I have with my dear friend Taylor Hughes, and it's a hat or a t-shirt after every round we play, and it didn't matter how many holes I was up. In all 18 holes that we played, he hit some kind of miraculous shot. You've got one of them on video where he hits it from above the green on, I guess that's 9, and hits it 10, the big punch bowl. Hits it from above that green to like 2 feet, and then makes the putt. So it's my favorite memory, but it still hurts me a little bit, haunts me a little bit that I had to buy him 3 different t-shirts while we were in the pro shop.
Yeah, the night golf was phenomenal. That's a memory that I will have forever. It was funny because we had done some putting around after the sun went down. We brought out the glow balls, did some putting, did some chipping, and then everyone kind of gradually petered out. My friend Leslie and I were still up at the clubhouse. The lights were out and everything, and we're like, "This is a sign. It's time to go home." But it was a beautiful night, and so she and I both had energy. It was probably only like 11 o'clock at night, and we're kind of looking around with a big like, "Wah wah." I guess everyone's gone to bed. And we just kind of sat up there. We were trying to film some stupid videos, and luckily we're really bad at it, so it took a while to get what we wanted. And then the whole crew of unbelievable photographers peeled up the hill with the glow balls and the photography equipment, and we invited ourselves along. and had one of the most memorable nights of my life, just hitting glow balls with these incredibly talented photographers in the middle of Nebraska until like 2 in the morning. And the photos there, I encourage people to check them out because they're unreal. And I think we probably would have stayed until, but then the sprinklers came on, and that was kind of the end of that. But I don't know how many chances you get to hit glow balls at 2 a.m. in Nebraska under like a super starry sky with some like soft music playing, a couple of bottles of wine, some naps on the fairway. It was a good time.
Yeah, so this is going to be a funny one. Shout out Kyle Walton for this, but we were all on a tee box. It was a big group. It was, second round of the day. So for people that haven't been, a lot of times you go out in groups of 4, 5, or 6 for your first round. Kind of enjoy the day. If you're not a part of the cooler matches, of course. But then in the afternoon, everybody kind of joins up. You go out in groups of 10, whatever. And so we were out on the tee box, and Kyle Walton was kind of rolling around, checking out different groups, and he pulled up to us. And everybody was hitting their tee shots, and for whatever reason, end of the day, guys enjoying some libations a little more than not. He after every shot that was hit, we were all like, oh, oh, oh. And everybody in the whole group, and Kyle Walton comes over and he's like, what am I golfing with the minions over here or what? And because it sounded like, ooh. And then so for the rest of the trip, anytime someone hit a good shot, you'd have to give them the minion sound. And that was just, I mean, we were all, I was laying on the turf crying because I was laughing so hard. And I'll tell you what, we there wasn't a lot of body parts sore after Landman. Thankfully we had carts and we were riding around. But I'll tell you what, my cheeks sure hurt after one of those nights just from laughing so hard. I got back and I was just, I mean, it was just one of those that you just won't forget some of those moments that we had out there. But definitely that was one of the best.
Ooh, I think my favorite story was the second day. It was blowing wind, pretty sustained the whole day, you might remember. And I was playing with 5 other people, and hole 1, we were gonna play a shamble, and we all hit our drives, and then after we all hit our drives, we all looked at each other like, should we play a scramble instead? Because it's gonna be a long day of playing any sort of your own golf ball. And so we had the best time ever. We shot like 10 under as a group in that crazy wind, and we were celebrating every hole for any good shot anyone hit, and really made it fun.
Honestly, it was the last day. I mean, there's a couple. We were playing so many games, so there's so many different storylines kind of unfolding in our own rounds. But the last day, the guy that kind of organized things for us, Jeffrey Birch, his parents played with us, and it was cool because like his mom never played with them before, and they were just so sweet, and they were playing a scramble, so they would just go off the person that hit the furthest drive, and luckily it was me that day, so they were with me like the whole front 9. So we go to the last hole, and they're getting ready to leave, and they're like, "Hey, like it's been a great time." So it's the shortest par 4 in Nebraska, the par 3. That's really hard. That's only like 110 yards, and Birchie's mom just hits a pure shot. I mean, hits right in the middle of the green, probably like 10 feet from the pin, but you know how nasty that green is, and it just spins off the back and goes right in the bunker. So I'm sitting there like, most of the day they've been kind of just like picking up and just having fun and playing the course how it should, just really not stressing, just like enjoying it. Well, she's like, okay, I'm gonna go hit this. So you just see her trudge down the bunker, and just like a pro, opens the wedge and just hits down on it, puts it to like a foot, and she's like, all right, I'm good. Like just see you later. Man, to be so nonchalant, just step up there, hit a shot on like one of the shortest, hardest golf holes ever. I was like, that was pretty special.
It probably won't even have anything to do with me. It was just guys I played with that had some special moments. On the second day, one of our gimme members, Chip, it was his birthday. He had a pretty good round on number 10. He chipped in for birdie from about 85 yards out, um, and did not use the punch bowl. at all. Just like stuck it to like 3, 4 feet, spun a little bit, and dropped. So that was a big fun moment. I mean, we're screaming like this guy doesn't even need the punch bowl.
My final question for everybody is, why do you need to put Landman on your must play list? So this is unsolicited advertising to you, the listener, you, the viewer who are watching this thing, why you should put Landman on your must play list. I know they are about to release some packages where you can book kind of a stay and play. They have cabins on property that you can rent while you're there. And they say you can play 36, so you'll have 2 opportunities to play this place. December 31st at 8 a.m. Central, they will open up their tee sheet. If it's anything like last year, it will go like that. I think it went in 3 hours last year. I wouldn't expect anything different this year. So be on the lookout. Follow their Instagram account, follow their Twitter account, check out their website. Just be ready for December 31st, 8 a.m. Central Time to book your tee time to Landman. I can't recommend it enough. Everybody asks me, what are you talking about? You went to Nebraska, Homer, Nebraska. Never heard of that. Homer, Nebraska, go play Landman. But listen to why everybody else thinks you should.
I'm trying to think of all the places that Robby and I have played or that I've had a chance to go. And it's got to be number 1 or number 2 on my list, simply because it is truly an experience of not just I think you're just surrounded by people who truly enjoy the game. The course is clearly designed and built for people who love the game of golf. And there's so many opportunities. I would say if you were going to go, throw your score out the window. Don't worry about that. Even if you're a really good golfer, I would say don't do that, because there's going to be moments on almost every single hole where you're going to have a chance to just pull off a shot that's a lot of fun. And every hole has this little unique little twist to it. There's very few of them that are just regular shots that seem like, a par 4 that's, 380 yards down the field, and you can hit it out there and then from the 150 hit it again. There's just so many nuances to the course and the holes that every single hole provides a great opportunity to have more fun, even if you were just absolutely terrible on the previous hole. So that's why I would say it's probably a must go.
Yeah, it's one of a kind. You absolutely can't find anything like it anywhere. I'm not the most seasoned golf player. Like, I haven't been everywhere to play golf, but I've been around, and there's no experience I've had like it. Like, you got to pluck it out and put it into its own category. It's so unique and so fun. It's one of a kind. Get there as soon as you can. Make the trip. I think they do the thing on December 31st. So be online and be ready. Follow them on Instagram and be ready for those tee time drops, because I think that every year that goes by, it's just going to sell out quicker and quicker.
I want to come up with a really good answer here. It's so obvious that you should play it for so many different reasons. If you want to feel like you're at a fun, new, innovative place, somewhere where golf is continuing to grow and expand in ways that it hasn't already, you want to go check out Landman. It's not exactly what I expected, but it was so much more and so awesome that I'm not justifying it by my description right now. But it's the new cool thing. It really is, and it backs up what it's projected to be. So go check it out.
It's such a great hang. Everything that Will Anderson and team have done up there, and of course employing King Collins to build the golf course, it is so big. You can hit it miles offline and still be in play, which I think is something great. And it also provides a fair test for someone who's a really low handicap or a scratch golfer, because you tip that thing out and the wind's blowing, it's going to be a true test. Yeah, the place is so great, and the cooler itself, Jeffrey Birch and Will Anderson and just that entire group, again, never been around a more welcoming group of people in terms of just showing up to an event as a first-timer. And then, of course, the golf course speaks for itself. The fairways were immaculate. The greens were in outstanding shape. And then, of course, Wednesday, we had that wind that was biblical. I mean, 20-mile-an-hour sustained, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. I mean, I'm pretty sure we hit balls that when they were coming down, they were coming back toward us. So it's just one of the cool experiences that I don't think you get in a lot of places around the U.S.
I think a bit of what we touched on, I think so many people forget that golf should be fun. And Landman is designed for that. So if you're someone that either can already separate outcome from enjoyment of the experience or needs encouragement to do so, Landman is the place. Like I joke that it's an adult playground. From start to finish, it's visually stunning. It's architecturally genius. And it just encourages you to play golf in a different way than you might be used to back home, where you're just kind of going target to target, trying to make it in as few shots as possible, focusing on your score, getting upset if you don't score well. Like, that's something I gave up a long time ago, thank goodness. I went through plenty of years just hating myself and rife with self-loathing after bad rounds of golf. And there's just like, life is too short for that. And Landman encourages you to just go and enjoy the process and enjoy making shots. And, laugh when you get up and down in 6 or when your ball goes further away from when you started. Like, I hit plenty of shots that went up on the green and looked great, and all of a sudden they're, 30 yards back. And you laugh and you try it again. And you're smiling from start to finish at that place, or you should, or you're doing it wrong. And also just the views, like the place up there, it's vast. It's visually stunning, and every hole is so different and unique. And you could play it, 20 times and still see new things that are just designed for golf enjoyment. And I don't know, it's hard to describe. Just go. That's what Adamski said to me when he first told me about it. He said, "You know what? I can't explain it. Just go. Trust me. Go."
I mean, I think you're going to be, like I said, expectations. I had very, very high expectations, and they're going to be blown out of the water. And I think, you can go out there and experience, kind of the down home family setting. Doesn't matter where we were at in town, all around, everyone treated us like family. Everyone was really interested to see and hear why we were out. But as soon as they found out we were golfers, everyone in town knew exactly why we were there. So I think the word's gotten out in the local community too. And it seems like, Will, they had today they had a little high school tournament, it looks like, out there. So again, what they're doing for that community is something very special. And, I would not be the first to tell you. You probably might have heard this from other people, but there were a lot of conversations about looking at real estate down there in that area from some friends, because I'll tell you what, man, again, home away from home, little place, it's not necessarily the Sand Hills, but it's pretty close to the Sand Hills too. So that wouldn't be a bad place to have a spot in the middle of the country for sure. I just want to say, again, shout out to Birch for, and Will and the whole crew for putting this together, allowing us to be out there. And you know what? I already told my wife, I said, add it on the calendar every year from here on out. I mean, I'm going to be there, as long as they're allowing me, as long as they don't close the gate on me. But, it's a special, special group. And, I'll just say we got some exciting ideas from the Pacific Northwest crew about what we're going to bring to the table next year for you guys. So
why not? I mean, it's a must see. It's only a place that you can feel the magic if you go in person. So you got to put it on the top of your list.
Honestly, because like I said, I haven't been to a lot of places, so I can't really say like what it has that the others don't. All I can say is that it was one of the purest, most interesting golf courses I've ever played. I probably got to play it 8 times that week, and every single round felt different. So if you want to be able to go to one golf course and not feel bored and just, sky's the limit on creativity, it's the course for you.
Most fun I've ever had playing golf for 3 days in my life.
If Will and Sam are watching, thank you guys, man, for making me feel and my friends feel at home out there in Homer, Nebraska. It doesn't fall short on me. It's an experience unlike any other, and I can't wait to get back out there.
Well, there you have it. I hope as you've listened to this podcast or watched it on YouTube, that you will see how much I and a lot of other people love Landmand. It's an incredible place. I can't recommend it enough. Many thanks to Will Anderson and his family for what they've built. To Sam Fletcher, the entire crew, the people that work there, y'all are incredible. You show off hospitality like no other. Rob Collins, Tad King, the whole now King Collins Dormer golf design group. Y'all are great. Y'all make some fun golf courses. Trev, excited to see what you're going to do with Old Dane, another great track there in the area, part of the Anderson land. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I recommend Landmand to everybody. Make your way to Homer, Nebraska. Go play Landmand. Many thanks to everybody for participating in this production and giving me their thoughts and opinions on why they love it. And it's been a lot of fun putting this together. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you like this story, subscribe to the Whole Story Podcast, all the other things that BestBall has going on. But this has been an episode and a production of the Whole Story Podcast.